Hello, it's Tom and Finn again. Oh, we started already. Ready for chapter 19 of D-Day Dog. I'm going to read chapter 19 of D-Day Dog to Finn now while he rests, and to you as well. So thank you for carrying on listening. Chapter 19. An hour or so after getting off the ferry, they made a stop at a museum where they watched a 360-degree surround film about D-Day. Then they moved on to a place that was to be their home for the next 3 days. The film they had watched in the museum had been exciting but worrying too. It had shown wave after wave falling on the beach, but not waves of water, waves of men being shot, being shelled, being killed. There were images of the sea itself, not frothy and sparkly like the sea should be, but red, a sea of blood. It had overwhelmed Jack because you had to keep looking around you, behind you and back again to understand the film in all 360 degrees. By the end he was dizzy and sickened by war. At the end of the film, the narrator had said, "They gave their tomorrow so we could have our today." As they'd driven away from the museum, Jack had been trying to work out what that meant. Here he was, where all those men had given their tomorrows. Jack had shaken his head. They were stupid, all of them. He'd gone to the museum to try to make a good start to the school trip, but he had only made himself feel worse. He'd stay on the bus next time. The residential building where Jack and his classmates would be staying was a very large, stone-built house. It had 15 bedrooms on 4 floors, a dining room, and there were other rooms behind closed doors that Mr. Thompson said the children were not allowed to enter. Sorry, he is still here, aren't you, Finn? Not allowed to enter, and he's still yawning. Now I've lost my place, which isn't very good, is it? The floors were tiled, with no carpet, so every voice and footstep echoed round the corridor as the children, having unloaded their bags with Miss Carn, raced to their rooms. Outside, the stone walls were hidden by green leaves and dangling purple flowers of an enormous climbing plant, its roots twined and twisted around the window frames and up onto the slate roof. A soft breeze wafted a sweet fragrance in through the open windows. In front of the house, there was a gravel... Sorry, I'm just going to have to sort of thing out. This isn't working. We should do it on the armchair, really, shouldn't we? On the driveway, there was a turning circle. To the left, a huge field with an orchard at the far end. With an hour to go before dinner, Jack received a text from his mum. A selfie of her and Finn by the river at home. It was good to see that Finn... I'm going to have to give up again. Thank you, Finn. Thank you for that. I suppose this will make things easier. Right, sorry. It was good to see to see Finn. Sorry, there's a bowl over there with food in it, and he's about to get it. If you'll just wait 1 minute. Seriously, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Right, sorry. I'm now going to read the rest smoothly without any interruptions. With an hour to go before dinner, Jack received a text from his mum. A selfie of her and Finn by the river at home. It was good to see Finn, but Jack was unsettled by the fact there was no sign of Dad in the photo. A selfie meant that no one else was there to take a better photo of the two of them, meaning no Dad. They were not together, and that was not good. Jack asked if he could go for a short walk on his own to stretch his legs and write his diary in the fields beyond the house. Given permission, he headed for the long grass at the edge of the orchard. He went there because Finn liked nosing his way through long grass, and he smiled to himself. He was going to the places his dog would like, even though this dog was hundreds of miles away. That was a bit crazy, thought Jack. You miss him, he said to himself. As he spoke, he saw someone sitting in the dry grass. Cassandra, staring up from the branches of a tree. She had her diary on her knees, a pen poised over it, as if she was thinking what to write. "Who are you talking to?" she said. Jack scratched his head. "Me? Just you?" Jack grinned and blushed. "Yeah." "Maybe you were pretending your dog is here." "I sort of was," Jack said. She was right after all. "You miss him still?" Cassandra asked. "Yes." "My dogs," Cassandra said, "were called Lockie and Lucy. Lucy is dead and Lockie is probably dead. I don't know." Jack felt his throat tighten. Cassandra was opening up about her life again. He didn't want to make her feel sad by asking her more about it, but he didn't want to ignore what she'd said either. "Is Lockie in Syria?" Jack asked. "Yes, when we left Aleppo, my city, we could not take him. He ran away and we did not know where he was." Jack looked at Cassandra but didn't speak. "But Aleppo is not a good place to live," she said. "There were bombs and not much food, soldiers." Loki was frightened. "Of the soldiers and the bombs," Cassandra said. Jack desperately wanted to say something nice to Cassandra. Something to try to make her feel better. "I've just got to stop the dog going through the bin. Excuse me." Finn, will you give it up? Seriously. I'm sorry. I'll try and bring him back, but he's in one of those moods today. He's back on trying to get on the table. Right. I can't remember where we're up to. There we are. Jack desperately wanted to say something to Cassandra, something to make her feel better. "Maybe he found some other dogs," Jack suggested, "and they formed a pack, and they went into the countryside together, and they're there now." Cassandra smiled broadly. "I hope so. That is a nice idea," she said. "I didn't like it when people are bad to dogs. It upsets me." The two of them sat in silence. Warm air moved slowly through the trees around them. A pair of white butterflies danced above their heads. Jack wanted to ask Cassandra about her new home, but he wasn't sure how to without sounding rude. About her home without sounding rude. But then Cassandra spoke again, as if she'd read his thoughts. "Some of our house fell down," she said. Jack frowned. "Why, what happened? Was it old?" "No, it was new. It was hit by a bomb when I was in school and my parents were at work. Lucy was in the garden. She was killed. We found her body under a collapsed wall. That was when Lockie ran away." "Aye," Jack said. "So the next day we left Aleppo. We took only the bags we could carry, that's all. Everything else we left behind," Cassandra said. Jack suddenly felt a hot rush of emotions. "I didn't know," Jack said. "I've not told anyone," Cassandra said. "How would you know?" I'm sorry for what I said in school before we left home," Jack said, "about people who get caught in war. I didn't know what had happened to you." Cassandra smiled. "It's okay," she said. Jack was staring back at the house. He could see Mr. Saller and Mrs. Mace watching him and Cassandra from the doorway. "It's okay now. It is okay now," Cassandra repeated. "But please don't tell the others about it. I like it I've just told you, but I don't want to talk anymore to anybody else." "Deal," Jack said. "I promise." And that's the end of chapter 19. That was a bit intense, wasn't it? But this story about Cassandra, I read 3 or 4 books by children who'd left Syria. They told their stories in the books and they'd survived. And I read those, and that's how I wrote the Cassandra character. I think it's really important when you're writing about people going through things like that you understand as much as you can, really, someone with a privileged life like mine and ours, that you understand. So I do read those books to try and understand what my characters might be like. Anyway, thank you for listening. Chapter 20 will come tomorrow, and Finn will hopefully be back with us.